Minasan Yokoso. In this video, I am going to talk about the scenes which were removed from Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 2. Let's start. Episode 2 starts with extracting the Shadow Bear. They didn't show their names in the anime. The Shadow Bears are called Shadow Beast Level 1. Next, moving on outside the gate, Sangmin says, I wonder how many of them are still alive. Yeonho says the environment inside a red gate is anything but normal. Their skin might have burned under the scorching sun, or they might have gotten frostbite because of the extreme cold. They might even be battling poisonous insects. He more says even if they somehow manage to get used to the environment, they will need to find food too. The gate level is high, so it will be difficult for lower ranking hunters to eat the corpse of the beast. Then Sangmin and Dongsu conversation happen. While this happens, they skip the thoughts of Yeonho. He says to himself, Sangmin is covering for Sang Jinu. That's how problematic it would be for people to find out about him. Even a overseas S rank came looking for Jinu, an E rank. Moving to Kim Chul's scene, when he ran off from the elves after his party got killed, he says to himself, it's all because of cold. No, if we hadn't starved for the past couple of days, we wouldn't be defeated. Next, outside the gate, before Yeonho and Dongsu starts fighting, they had a slight conversation. Yeonho says, you looking for a fight? Dongsu says, you bet I am. Now moving to the scene where Dongsu left. In anime, they shown he got a phone call and then he left. But in manhwa, he didn't get any phone call. He just says, forget it, you killed my vibe man. I am gonna go get some sleep. Then he looks into other people around the gate who were the staff of White Tiger Guild and says to them, what, you have never seen two S rank go at it before? Then he left. Moving to the scene where Kim Chul discovers Jinu's team. Seeing their food, he thought, if I would have eaten properly, I would have been able to take one of those ice elves. Next, the conversation between Kim Chul and Jinu's team was slightly different from the anime. Kim Chul says, my team was wiped out because we didn't have enough food and equipment. How is it that you guys have all the supplies? One of the men in the team says, well, he stops midway. Kim Chul says, why can't you explain yourselves? Cat got your tongue? I highly doubt all of you were behind this together. Who hid all this from me? If you tell me who it was, I will let the rest of you off the hook. Who hogged all of the equipment and left their teammates to die? If nobody speaks up, I will assume all of you were together. He starts countdown. While doing the countdown, he looks at Heijin and thinks this woman switched team. She had something up her sleeves. She wanted to preserve as much food as possible. That's why she gone to the other team. Then he shouts, are you the culprit, Park Heijin? Then he tries to attack, but Jinu stops him. In anime, Kim Chul named Sang Jinu in this situation, but that wasn't on the manhwa. Even what Jinu says after hitting Kim Chul on the head was different from anime. Jinu says, actually you are the one who left us to die, so stop spouting nonsense. Then the elf shows up. Seeing them, Jinu says, I feel shivers down my spine. The count of the elf said in the manhwa was more than 20. The boss of the elf says, so it's true, not all of you are trash. There's someone quite skilled. Jinu says, did you call us trash? The boss elf was shocked. He says, do you understand our language? Looks like we can communicate. Good. Then the elf head cut off scene happens. The horse which the boss elf was riding, its killing scene wasn't on the manhwa. Anime added the scene. There is a small scene where Jinu summons his shadow army, and while that, one of the team members says sorry to a shadow. While his shadow army was battling with the elves, he says, I have leveled up every single one of my shadows, so they will be able to take on a few ice elves. Okay, here is a scene. Kim Chul's sword was far away from him while he was laying on the snow. Jinu says, if I could just have an even stronger shadow. The sword was near him. He kicked it and it landed on near Kim Chul. Next, moving to the scene where the fireball from the sky attack from the mages targets the boss elf. Jinu says, there's no way that attack was enough to kill you. Don't leave me waiting. Come on out. Baruka, the boss of elf, says, is this really all that your soldier can do? Next, the Igris killing Kim Chul scene is more dramatic on the manhwa. What do you think? In here, I will add one thing. In anime, they show that Igris hits the snow and cover themselves in the snow dust. But in manhwa, it wasn't that. He did it in front of Baruka. Seeing that, he says, interesting, but this won't change your faith. In the anime, they didn't show the rank of Iron. Iron rank is Knight. The skill used by Iron was not mentioned in the anime. It's sort of provocation. Now there is some changes while Baruka fights with Jinu, Iron and Igris. In anime, they've shown us Baruka tells them it's not enough. Jinu and Igris needs to face him too at the same time while fighting with Iron. But in manhwa, it's different. While fighting with Iron, Baruka says, you don't stand chance against me with this slow poke. Jinu says, oh yeah? Then how about 3 of them? While fighting, they skipped a part. The first strike of Jinu to Baruka, which was from his first dagger. The paralyzed effect was activated. Plus effect bleed was activated too. But there was a notification that says the opponent's resistance was too high, the effect was cancelled. Baruka says, how annoyingly persistent. You are all just trash. Jinu says, this probably isn't the best time for you to complain. Take a look around. Are these the troops you were bragging about earlier? Is this all you got? Next, some dialogues was cut off, like when Iron holds Baruka and Mages fires fireball. But he survived that and says, you bastards, I am gonna kill you all. Next, when Iron still hits the body of Baruka even after killing him. Jinu says he is still stupid even as a shadow. Moving on, after Jinu and the team comes out from the gate. After Jinu left, Yonho asks Heijin what's the matter with him. Why is he in such a foul mood? Heijin says, I don't know. He has been like that ever since he defeated the boss and shouted something 3 times in front of the corpse. Yonho asks Sangmin, why haven't you able to recruit him yet? Sangmin says, pardon? They skip the thoughts of Yonho. Here are the Yonho's thoughts. He had the guts to speak his mind in front of me. To make someone like him part of our guild, I would better be prepared to give an arm and a leg. Yonho says, hurry up and recruit him. Sangmin says, I will try my best, sir. Yonho says, that's not good enough. I will give you all the support you need. Bring that man into our guild at all cost. They skipped the Baruka's dagger details. Its level is A. It's infused with magic that reduces the weight of its wielder, allowing for greater agility. Lastly, the scene where Jinu and Jinho goes for the raid. While in the car, Jino calls Songi. Seeing that, Jino says to himself, not only does he knows her number, but he is also nice to her. Are they in a relationship? After reaching at the Songi's place, Jino says, should I call Songi Miss from now on? Jino says, what the? No, she is just a friend of my little sister. That's the wrap up for episode 2. From episode 3, I am going to cover everything. Basically, I am going to cover the manhwa in details. That's for all. See you in the next video.